Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. So today we have a replay review, actually one of my replays coming your way today. So ignore the caster numero trace, that's actually me. And I'll put a screenshot up. If y'all don't believe me, I changed my name for the Rainbow Cup because it was a bunch of casters on the team. We all renamed ourselves and it was great. It was a lot of fun. So we have a ladder match coming down on Bermuda Locket, and I wanted to do this particular map because this map I don't think is very much liked by people. I kind of like this map, to be honest with you, but it has a very unique build order that is kind of required. And you can see both me and my opponent, Terminator, going for kind of a similar build order here. So I've got a lot of energy queued up. He's got a lot of energy queued up. No Mexes, and that is because on this map, if you look on the left or the right-hand side of the screen, there is the left-hand side of the screen, a lot of reclaim, 68,000 to be precise. So first engineer actually is just going off for both of us to get a lot of reclaim. And then we have the commander literally just prioritizing building actual power instead of building any mexes or mass extractors or anything like that. So this is one thing that you can do on this map. I believe it is in the 4v4 rotation right now, and it does work really, really well. So if we look at just my eco as we go back to single screen here, I'm not mass stalling, even though I don't have any mexes yet. And third engineer is coming off the line, fourth engineer actually, and the fourth engineer, I can't remember what I did with it, but we've got two engineers on attack move out of the factory, and the fourth engineer was what I actually queued up Mexes with. So whether that's optimized, I have no idea if it's optimized, whether you can get away with not building Mexes until even later on in the game. But important on this map is grabbing reclaim instead of prioritizing Mexes, because you have a ton of mass to work with just around your base. So you want to build a lot of power right off the bat instead of building Mexes. So 10th power generator coming up, 12th or 11 and 12, and then I go for 16, and then I get an air factory. So that's my overall build order. Terminator went for a little bit of a different build order here. So he's getting his mexes at about the same time as me, but you'll notice that his initial engineers have now gone off to go get more mexes, and he's left a lot of reclaim here. So, and if we zoom in a little bit so reclaim counter can give us a little bit more accurate representation, there's over 5,500 worth of reclaim in his immediate area that he could grab with engineers. And on this map, as far as overall battle strategy, if you will, I have no idea where this engineer is going. Did I miss this Mex? No, I have it queued up with something. Oh yeah, this engineer. But on this map, as far as overall strategy, I think there's two ways you win this map. And if you do both, you're going to crush. If you get one and your opponent gets the other, it's going to be difficult and you're going to have to go for other strategies. But there's two things that you need to be focusing on. One is this middle navy area, and the second is air. And as you can see, Terminator going for air right off the bat. I actually cast this guy not too long ago in one of my videos. But he's going off to pick off some engineers. Very important in a big map like this where engineer travel time is does actually make a difference. And he's also burning my actions per minute by forcing me to have to queue up things again that I've already queued up. My air factory was up, so I was able to get an interceptor out before losing too many engineers. And I don't think this one died. Yeah, that one just barely survived. So important thing to take note of, he also pushed a jester out, so very heavy early aggression coming out of Terminator, specifically in the air, with both a bomber and a jester. And I think the jester got one engineer, the bomber got two engineers. For that level of early air aggression, not 100% sure that's worth it, but getting only 3 engineers off of that. But that is one of the ways that you win on this map. And you also have to think about it from not just a resource perspective, but also from a player psyche perspective. So for me, being on the other side of that, I was understandably rattled, and even went into building land because I thought that he had already captured this side. of the map, and that's how I have a couple of interceptors actually going out to check, because I didn't have my air scout was over on the other side of the map. But I thought he had already captured this side of the map. My game plan was to go to this side of the map and then leave him this area. And you actually see transports coming out. After I had scouted kind of with these interceptors to see that he wasn't over there, we made the move to drop on this side of the map. So that's a little bit about the tactics and the psyche. Going back to overall mass on the map, though, again, very, very reclaim heavy map. Still 63,000 worth of reclaim on the map. Some of it's been, you know, created by things dying, like a couple of interceptors, as well as, I can't remember if that jester died. No, didn't die there. But one thing that you should note is, or that I want to point out is, the Mex upgrade pattern. So Terminator's gone for a couple of Tech 2 Mexes already. He's got another 3 that are all currently upgrading, not paused. And that's fine. He's got the mass to be able to do it. If you shift over to my side, I do have several Mexes upgrading also at the same time. So focusing on my core Mexes. But what is going to help one player and not the other is this reclaim number right here. So flipping to reclaim, you can see that Terminator has 1.4k in reclaim. I've got 3.6. So Terminator not prioritizing the reclaim anywhere near as much on this map, and has instead used a lot of his early engineers to expand. Whereas a lot of my engineers that have come off of the line have been focused on reclaiming as much as I possibly can. And that's allowed for a couple of different things. First, it's allowed me to get into Navy sooner. So I've got my first naval factory up before, or just as his is getting started. I've also got a couple of other kind of luxury factories that allow me to organize my engineers a little bit better. And it's allowed me to drop and build a land presence over here on this side of the map. And even though this jester is being supremely annoying right now, I'll still be able to clean it up with some interceptors. Again, only building one Mex and then sending a lot of engineers to reclaim, because again, very reclaim rich section of the map, 7,000 reclaim here. So need to be able to vacuum that bad boy up as much as I can. Although I'm talking about reclaim, which is plural, so I'm not sure why I'm using bad boy in the singular sense for reclaim, which is a plurality, but whatever. Navy is coming up. I'm able to continue naval production. And actually what hit me hard later on in this game was power, specifically after I got this second air factory up and then started upgrading to Tech 2. So even with that's actually a third air factory, even with all the power that I built, was still going to run into power issues later on in the game. And I'll see if I catch that in the first person view. Overall though, expansion, this reclaim has allowed me to secure this section. It's allowed me to semi-secure this section. I've got some T1 units down here. He does have a T1 army that's on the way, but I'm able to contest this section. I am ignoring this section, but there's also not really a land presence here just yet. And I was already planning on losing kind of this side of the locket anyway. So things are I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm at kind of in the game right now. Especially whenever it comes to eco and navy. Now, I said earlier that there are 2 ways to kind of be competitive on this map. Now, this is my opinion, but navy in the center and then air control. I like doing this with navy. I like focusing on navy in the center because there are a lot of very vulnerable points that you can get to with either destroyers from the Cybran. You can get them to walk up on the beach and you threaten a lot of mass, as well as a lot of really, really key locations. Or with Seraphim or UEF, you have cruise missiles, which you can attack pretty much everything that is a land unit using the Seraphim or the UEF. I don't play Aeon because I don't like Aeon, and everybody knows that. But Aeon is the only one that I don't think has as much of an advantage in the Navy side. But again, even with Aeon, you can build floating, and then you can get to your opponent's areas that way. So on this side, little land skirmish that was able to mop up. And a lot of that is due to the time to travel for his land units. So a lot of his land production is back here. So he's got 2 factories back here, another 2 here. He has built a couple up here, but a lot of my land units can just immediately get to where they need to be. And even though he will have more than me eventually, in that particular engagement, he did not have more than me. So he deposited more reclaim, which is beautiful. And if we look at the reclaim numbers, again, still prioritizing it at 7.3. He's at 1.6. And I don't know this while I'm playing the game, but going back and looking at this, it does highlight how important reclaim is. And I talk about this in a lot of different videos, and that's because it is a very important mechanic and one that players, I think, need to be paying attention to. So he's got 4 naval factories up right now. And like I said, I'm prioritizing securing the middle. I have got 6, and I'm jumping to... no, I'm not jumping to Tech 2 yet. That comes later. Spoiler alert. But I was going to make a little... I was going to try and perform a little bit of pressure here on this side. The larger amounts of units that he did have had showed up at that point. Luckily, though, my commander's here. And there's not enough units here to threaten my commander as long as I have Tech 1 stream, which I do, coming this way. And because this is a very choke pointy area, it's very hard for him to be able to bring all of his forces to bear. So even though I have inferior forces here, we're literally the Spartans at Thermopylae in this particular area. So he's going to focus a lot on my commander. I can pull some of my units back, get them out of harm's way while my commander just blaps away at the tanks. And end up exchanging really, really well here. So I set up another reclaim factory. You guys are seeing a theme here. It's because there is one. But I enjoyed this game, and I thought that I played well, so that's why I'm hosting it. That's why I'm talking about it. So here's my Tech 2 Naval upgrade. 8.1 reclaim versus 1.6. So he hasn't reclaimed any more since, you know, that initial reclaim. And I'm also trying to pressure on the Navy side of things. This one, he did have an unusual build order, I think, out of his initial factory. So, and you can see this replicated here a little bit. So you see he's got 2 subs that are queued right now and then 2 at the very end of his queue. He went for 4 subs right out of the gate. And those are some of the subs that you're seeing here. So that did force me to... That did actually force me to go Tech 2 because I didn't want to dump a bunch of money into subs. I would have much rather gone Tech 2 and gone for destroyers, which is what I decided to do. But him going for those subs right off of the bat did really, really eliminate my ability to push here. Because as you can see, all of these are subs. He's only got 1 frigate, 2 frigates. I've killed all the other frigates. I'm actually going to go force another fight over on this side to kill some more frigates. But I'm able to kill any frigates. I just can't deal with the subs. And he has kind of a critical mass here of subs. But again, and I've said this before, I don't think that subs are that great in this game. The only reason they're working here is because I'm only at Tech 1. As soon as you get to Tech 2, Tech 1 subs become really ungood. And he's actually going for a torpedo upgrade. He has gotten control of this side, but not entirely, while I've got a lot of these Mexes already set up. And 10k reclaim versus 1.8k reclaim, you know, it's important, but there's another thing that I do want to talk about here, which is overall mass income. It's roughly similar, and I should have talked about this later, but he was leading me by about 20k, or by about 20 mass per tick, as far as overall mass production rate early on in the game, because he prioritized upgrading these Mexes to Tech 2. And if we go to mass totals, I actually haven't looked at this number. I am trailing behind by 2k, but not as much as I thought I would have been whenever I looked at this replay and saw that I was making 60, or that he was making 65 mass and I was only making 40 mass per second. So I'll go back to reclaim numbers here. I'm actually surprised that this is not the 12k versus 1.8k reclaimed. Hasn't helped my case here a little bit more. And that does mean that the longer this game goes, and the the less reclaim I have to rely on, it does mean that he is going to be able to push harder and create more mass. So that means that I need to really, really get on my eco horse at this point. And he is starting to pressure this side. I had put up a couple of point defense here, and he's going to be able to overrun those with the Tech 1 artillery. He's also got Tech 2 air out, so we have some torpedo bombers. Not a critical mass of torpedo bombers, though. And I'm not quite sure. He never really built any interceptors, which I was really, really confused about. Because going for torpedo bombers, while very good, you still need interceptors to back them up. And this is my push. I had destroyer up. Thought I was going to be in good shape here. Turned out that the Tech 1 subs, enough Tech 1 subs, can actually deal some significant damage to a destroyer. I was going to try and back it off, but realized that that wasn't going to work. So brought my air in to deal with the rest of his torpedo bombers. And this was when I just went straight for his Tech 2 Naval HQ, which he does have up now. Because me backing off with these frigates isn't really going to do anything. And I thought I had enough frigates here to be able to take out the HQ. So even though I'm depositing some reclaim, I'm also taking away not only the mass that he's invested into this HQ, but also the time that it took him to upgrade this. I think I do end up getting it with like 1 frigate to spare or something like that. I was like down to the wire nail biting. And it didn't help that I didn't position my frigates very well, so one was just firing at this Tech 1 naval factory. But was able to take out some of his naval production, so that's good for me. He does break through with some Tech 1 land up on this side, so I scrambled Volthus. I had made the jump to Tech 2 air, so I scrambled some Volthus out to be able to deal with that. I built the Tech 2 air mostly for torpedo bombers because I had air control. But because I had it and he was pressuring with land, I figured I might as well go for some Volthus. And I don't think I ever rebuilt these Mexes, which is great. But now I have these Volthus, and he doesn't have interceptors, so might as well just go down here and pressure this side with some Volthus. Force him to build some AA. Maybe force him to rethink his life choices. I don't know. But got a cruiser out now, and the cruiser's going to start doing the things that it does best, mopping up another naval factory. Have another destroyer out too. And that nanite torpedo upgrade that we mentioned earlier has been completed on his commander. I think he is only producing torpedo bombers and mobile AA out of his land factories, which is an interesting choice. But Volthus able to go in now and start taking out some buildings. Which is definitely a very, very good thing. And interceptors, I keep them around my navy just to make sure that any torpedo bomber strikes are able to be dealt with. Volthus dealing with this side over here. I did scout that he had a nano. This was whenever I was pretty sure this was the commander. And then I saw the torpedo upgrade and I was like, oh, okay, he's looking to fight with his comm. And that's whenever I started just cranking torpedo bombers as quickly as I can. Because, again, air control, use it. If you have air control and you're not doing something to damage your opponent, you are wasting air control. And this goes for custom games as well. If you've killed all of your opponent's ASF, and you don't scale back ASF production and go into strats or gunships, then you are kind of wasting mass on ASF at that particular point in time. Because you've crushed all of your opponent's ASF and you need to transition that advantage into some sort of advantage for your teammates. Because you've won. It's a little bit like if you're a land player, it's a little bit like if you've won your lane, you need to start thinking about how to help some of the other lanes that might be in trouble. So same kind of thing with being an air player, both in custom games as well as in a game like this. Oh, you had a Barracuda out. I didn't realize you got that out. But I did scout this earlier, so wanted to make sure that he stayed out of the Navy, so just shifted all my Navy. His comm can't keep up. So shifted all of my Navy over here. He is going to kill the Volthus, but I mean, they kind of did their job. Like this entire section of the locket is dead, so I'm not crying over that one too terribly much. And while I was at it, I also went for Tech 2 land and started getting some militias out because I wanted to try and break this side. So I'm trying to attack him in a bunch of different places. I'm trying to attack him in the air over here, trying to attack him in the Navy, and I'm trying to attack him on land. And this is whenever I had enough torpedo bombers that it was time to go for the comm. And there's just not a whole lot that he can do. Doesn't have enough interceptors to deal with it, doesn't have enough mobile AA, and so that ends up with him control Kang. And he actually alt F forward, so I don't think he was very happy, but he actually alt F forward, so I had to wait for like 3 minutes to actually get this win. But mostly what I wanted to highlight in this video is the importance of reclaim. I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record actually now that I'm thinking about this, because I've made several videos on the importance of reclaim. But I also wanted to highlight the importance of reclaim, and specifically on this map, because this is a map where your standard factory, 4MX, hydro, not an option. And I think that a lot of players don't really like this map, and there's not really a reason to not like this map. I think this map is really, really cool. It offers some interesting things, especially on ladder. I've always enjoyed playing this map. Maybe it's because I'm good at it. I don't know what my win rate is on this map, but it feels like I win a good amount on this map. So, yeah, build order, keep that in mind. And you can subsist off of reclaim on these reclaim heavy maps for quite a bit of time before actually even building any Mexes. Ultimately, you will have to build Mexes, but oftentimes on a reclaim heavy map like this one, it's better to just build a bunch of power and then build Mexes later instead of going for your standard build order. And that can allow you to use all the reclaim that you vacuum up off the map. Some other maps that I think fall into this category where this works pretty well are, is it Via 3 Protectorate? Is that the red one with the 4 corners that has a lot of reclaim? That one you can also do this in. And then I think it's DeRosa's Sanctuary, which is the gray one with 4 corners with a ton of like 260 rocks all over the bases. That's another one where this kind of build order, the Nomex build order, can be really, really helpful for you. So anyway, that's it from me for today, guys. Really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.